Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and today we're looking at a brand new YouTube scam, boys. It just dropped. Let's get started. This one uses AI. Now before we begin, this video is not necessarily just for you, it's for your favorite content creators, alright? I'm not naming names specifically, but today's video goes out to a few of the content creators, again, not naming names, that decide to hit me up every time they click a link. Hey Muda! What's gonna happen? I clicked on this shady link. And of course, guys, if that's all you tell me, anything could happen, okay? All right, you could provide nuclear launch codes to like another country for all I know. I can't answer that. Usually when I get to asking what link you clicked on, usually it ends up being something adult-oriented. But the best thing that I've ever heard is, Muda, I tried downloading Adobe Premiere for free. And all of a sudden, it didn't give me Adobe Premiere. Now, the same YouTuber may in fact get hacked a week later, 2 weeks later, and then they're always on Team YouTube asking, please, my account got hacked, please save me, Father. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not here to judge if you want to download Adobe Premiere for free. That's a choice between you and Allah, okay? At that point, you really don't have any, I can't be part of it, okay? I'm not going to judge you. I'm just going to say, some of y'all YouTubers out there can afford the Adobe subscription. So if you don't want to get your YouTube accounts hacked or any account hacked, just pony up and pay the subscription fee. Look, I don't like supporting Adobe either. I don't like paying them, but if it means just basic safety using that application, I'll deal with it. Anyways, though, why am I mentioning Adobe Premiere? Well, a new scam has dropped. Now, to start off with, this comes from hacked YouTube channels. Now, you've probably seen some YouTube channels that end up getting hacked. So usually they're making good, their content, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, a week later, they're uploading FL Studio cracked version, Hogwarts Legacy crack, AutoCAD crack. All right, and of course, the thumbnails look nice and juicy. But this is usually indicative of two things. Either the channel sold itself to somebody else. Sometimes it'll happen. They'll sell their channels for like $200, $1,000, whatever, and just cash out. Sometimes they'll just get hacked because these channels clicked on another shady email, clicked on some shady program, and boom, all you know, somebody else got their credentials, and now they're uploading dog shit scams. Now, what's interesting and why I wanted to make these specific videos is looking into these scams in particular. Now, if you click on these videos, you'll notice they were made about 6 days ago. They got around 17,000 views, 15,000 views, so clearly people watched them, and if you have any understanding, somebody clicked on the links provided and downloaded the malware. Now, if you click on some of these links, you'll notice very quickly, this is a human being having a discussion with you. Now, these videos are about 3 minutes long, and if you open up the actual audio, you'll notice very quickly, they're actually having a communication. They're actually talking. This is artificial intelligence very clearly. You can understand based on the inflections of the voice. And of course, if I mute it, if you look at the actual person talking, this is not how a human being appears. This is an artificial intelligence model. Now, of course, the AI was typically only active for like, I would say 20, 25 seconds, enough for somebody to basically scroll down and download whatever link they're providing. Now, generally, when you look into the actual comment section, in this case, you can see that there are no comments because, ladies and gentlemen, for 13,000 views around, they have no comments. Very, very believable, okay? If I just write into it and say, this is a scam, and I just hit comment on this channel, you'll notice, dang, okay, there it is, I'm right here. Now, of course, very quickly, you may notice that the actual owner of this scam, the actual owner of this account may remove this comment. Because, ladies and gentlemen, that's just how this works. Now, of course, if you look at it, there's 420 likes, and thankfully, because of a dislike extension on my browser, I can view how many dislikes they have, which they have around 420, and actually 421 as the time of filming the video. Thank you, YouTube, for getting rid of those like to dislike ratios, because goddamn, it was a very quick way to tell if this was a scam or not. You can see that over 1,500 users didn't find this Photoshop crack to be useful. Now, at this point, we're gonna have to bring up the word personal accountability, okay? If you're the moron, and yes, actually, no, that's not harsh enough. If you're the dipshit that goes on Photoshop Crack 2023 and downloads that, all right, you kind of deserve to get hacked, okay? The only reason I'm making this video is out of, just pure ethics at that point. That's it. But of course, if you look down over here, you'll notice that they provide links to a bit.ly page. Now, this bit.ly this link will take you to a MediaFire download page, which will provide you the actual downloaded version, the Photoshop crack, if you will. Now, here's the actual downloaded files, photoshop.rar, which is about 11.1 megabytes. Now, next to it is something that is called staging, which is effectively me unpacking whatever's in this and compressing it myself. You'll notice my compression is slightly larger than the original. That's just because of the scheme we're using. Again, if you open this, you'll notice that it needs a password. Now, according to the actual YouTube description, is 7573. So 7573, and bam, look at that. We actually got a setup.exe app and data. So for the outside person looking in, it seems pretty legitimate. Now, if you actually look at it, it's a 700 megabyte file, but when you compress it, it's like 300 kilobytes. That's because the executable file is loaded up with so much junk information that it looks like it's a solid program, when in reality, it is not. Now, the reason why they actually package this with a password protection is whenever you actually try to scan this, like for instance, if we go to VirusTotal, for instance, and we basically just grab this, drop it in, you'll notice it's not picking anything up. That's because the virus scanning tool can't exactly look into something that's password protected. Now, when I made this staging file, you'll notice that I basically took all of this information and packaged it myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way back to VirusTotal, drop that same information without any password protections, and all of a sudden you can see that it is a very haram file, okay? So clearly it's not good in these streets. Now, one thing you'll also notice is a lot of these scams will utilize something known as tag stuffing, which is a form of SEO poisoning. So effectively, by finding multiple ways to throw themselves to the top of the search engine, oftentimes against the terms of services for all these platforms, YouTube included, they will basically find a way to get anybody looking up free Photoshop 2023 and download this specific version. Now, of course, sometimes they'll introduce certain countries so they can specifically target people from certain areas that may be more susceptible to these scams because of an overall lack of education regarding a bit of tech, okay? That's just how this stuff works. So if you wonder, do people fall for this? They obviously do. Based on the impressions that they're receiving, somebody clearly tried downloading this and running it, and then they realized they never got Photoshop, so they just walked away and forgot. And that is when you know you've gotten everything hacked. Now, at this moment, once you've run this on your actual system, you've effectively handed over some of your personal information. Things like your YouTube logins and tokens, for instance, which will allow somebody to hijack your channel, and then all you'll have to do is talk to Team YouTube and try to get it back. Now, this is where we're going to put on the virus investigations hat, okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is when things get a little bit interesting. What does this do on your actual computer? Now, of course, before we continue, I have to say, please do not try this on your actual home computer. Running malware isn't advisable. If you know what you're doing, then you can then you can do whatever you want. Now, I'm running this in virtual machines, but more specifically, actual hypervisor sandboxes, just so I can actually see what this is doing behind the scenes. Now, for instance, one of them is known as AnyRun. You can use things like Cuckoo Sandbox, whatever, so on and so forth. But I'm using this to basically showcase what's effectively going on. Now, for instance, in this case, I've actually installed it on a Windows 7 virtual machine. So here I'm unpacking this file, and then I'm basically launching the setup program. And then you'll notice towards the end of it, nothing is actually happening on the system. Nothing really pops up aside from one dialog prompt, one terminal box. But other than that, there's a lot of shit going on behind the scenes. So for instance, if you look at the actual HTTP requests, I'm communicating to servers, and then I'm actually downloading what is known as PhotoZip and numerous other tools. And then also you can see in the connections that I'm actually sending out messages through Telegram, for instance, and then you can actually see that there's numerous amounts of threats. In fact, at some moment, you can even see me communicating with various Discord domains too. So obviously, these people are using YouTube, Discord, and various other places as distribution networks. YouTube, in this case, is the attack vector for somebody to get infected via this new scam. Now, when I say scam, you might be like, Muda, who's gonna fall for the AI shit? Now, of course, if you haven't been following those presidential AI deepfake memes, they're pretty hilarious, but there have been another area of scams. Like, for instance, Joe Rogan recently had somebody take his video off of his podcast and basically input through generative voice AI his actual voice and promoted a product on Amazon. Now, Joe Rogan DMCA'd these clips, as he rightfully should, but you can understand that anybody can steal somebody's voice using like a minute of their actual voice samples that are floating around and promote any application or any scam out there. Somebody could take my voice and legitimately promote an actual scam, and I really couldn't do anything about it other than issue DMCAs. And even then, once the cat is out of the bag, people can do whatever they want. The world of scams and the world we're headed towards is not safe, especially with generative AI creating videos and voices that can fool even the most staunch individual out there. You know, it doesn't have to be free Photoshop or anything. It could literally be somebody taking my videos, generating something, and promoting a software, and then sending it out en masse. Not even through YouTube, but through something like TikTok or another shorts platform or Twitter, you name it. We live in a world of really, really heavy misinformation, and it's really difficult to counter it. So again, it's something you have to watch out for. Now, of course, one thing we have to do is look further into what this program was doing. What did it actually steal from the people behind it? What did it steal from the users who accidentally launched it? At what point does your account get hacked on YouTube? So according to the actual discovery over here, yes, what this program does is it basically downloads files from web servers. In fact, in one of these Sigma rules over here, you can see that it uses the Windows command to delete files that basically reduce its overall detection footprint, so it can get rid of a lot of the things that would normally give away that this is malware. But another reality is it also creates executables by other executables. And what that means is, if you look at it real carefully, utilizing that one setup program that we had, it dropped this weird shady program 333-651-702-129.exe. It's a weird jumble, and it's not something that is ultimately there for good. All these programs all contribute to data being stolen, and the data being stolen is right here. So basically what it's doing is it's harvesting and stealing the browser information, so whatever in your browsers, Firefox, Chrome, Edge, Brave, you name it, Opera GX, then it effectively is here to capture keystrokes using a direct input object, and then it harvests PuTTY information, so sessions, passwords, a lot of the terminals and remote sessions that you signed into. And of course, the malware in this case is also designed to hide itself from virtualization as well too. So basically, if you're testing it in sandboxes like me, it'll have methods to also evade itself, also evade any form of scanning in that case. And of course, the kind of data that it is collecting ultimately is right over here. It finds many strings that are related to crypto wallets, and it basically tries to steal those cryptocurrency wallets that may be stored on your computer or your browsers. And then, of course, like always, it harvests and steals the browser information. And that includes your passwords, histories, various logins, tokens, you name it. At this moment, if you're a YouTuber and you use your same computer to upload videos onto your channel or sign on to Twitter, you've gotten your account stolen right here and then. So now you understand very clearly what happens when your account gets hacked. Chances are, if you're downloading shady shit like this, you're probably getting your accounts hijacked, and there's really nothing you can do about it other than hope that YouTube's enforcement can help you out. Now, of course, what's the fix to this? Obviously, the biggest fix is make sure you're not a total bumbling idiot and hopefully not click on any scams like this. But generally, in my opinion, if you're downloading pirated software like this anyways, I don't really have sympathy if you get hacked in the first place. But also, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of it also comes down to just being safe and practicing safe practices on the internet, period. And of course, I could ask YouTube that obviously the more and more you detect this, please shut this down as quick as you can. And YouTube does do a lot of good in shutting this kind of stuff down. Unfortunately, scams are such a rife part of the internet that getting rid of all of them is basically impossible. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're ever wondering new YouTube scams and new methods of hacks, this is a deep dive, a deep analysis into how this shit works in the first place. So of course, I'm going to wipe every virtual machine and sandbox that I've worked on. I'm going to delete all these files, and hopefully you'll learn something. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am